Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar
Hello?
Maximilian de Soto at your service. Or Vicar Max if you're the sort who prefers brevity. I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all. Spiritual counseling? This season's tossball predictions? The quickest way out of town?
So how did you know I'm an outsider?
I've never seen you before. And there's been no paperwork indicating a transfer. Half the time it's wrong, but a new worker without paperwork? Unheard of. Also, you lack the distinctive worker gaze. Usually either a deadening behind the eyes, or in some rare cases, a wild-eyed frenzy, like a trapped animal.
Well, you seem quite dismissive of the common man for a spiritual leader.
Oh, nothing could be further from the truth.
What?
I'm simply bemoaning the level of spiritual awareness in this town.
Isn't it your job to raise that?
Yes, but there are few who hear me in this miserable place. I must double my efforts to elevate my flock. These are good, hard-working people here.
Well, hold on a minute. Do you just refer to this town as a miserable place?
Yes, and thank you for pointing it out. It is wrong of me to succumb to distress. This place could be so much more, and I will continue in my quest to make it so.
Alright, Vicar, well, what sort of spiritual advice do you offer here?
They who are not satisfied with their work are satisfied with nothing. No?
What?
How about, work fortifies the spirit. True exhaustion awaits idle hands.
I was actually asking what your religion was all about.
The OSI teaches that the Grand Architect set a perfect system in motion at the beginning of time. Contentment is found by accepting one's role in that grand plan.
And what does OSI stand for?
The Order of Scientific Inquiry, also known as scientism to the layperson.
OSI, scientism. Not very religious sounding. You sure you didn't make all this up?
Mock me all you want. I know my beliefs to be true.
Uh-huh. And how do you talk to this grand architect? Prayer? Meditation? Or what?
You don't talk to the Grand Architect. Once the universe was set in motion, it stepped back. It has no concern for us.
Huh. Doesn't sound like a very motivational religious philosophy. What's there to aspire to?
We will eventually decode the plan and all its intricacies. Once we are able to deduce the properties of every particle in the universe and its trajectory, we will know everything. The future, the past, each person's place within the plan, all will be laid out before us, removing struggle and bringing peace. No one will ever need question their path again. Some even believe this ultimate knowledge will unlock mankind's true potential, and we will all become akin to grand architects ourselves, after a fashion.
Well, that seems unlikely.
I would love to discuss the finer points of my religion with you. Oh, wait. No, I wouldn't. Seriously, though, to truly understand the metaphysics involved takes years of study and contemplation.
Right. Well, I just thought of something else I need to be doing.
Just a moment. If you're going to be walking around outside, make sure you're well prepared. Unless you don't care for your life.
I've been outside. I'm not impressed. And I can handle myself better than a vicar.
The marauders I met when I ventured outside the walls might agree with you. Bastards snuck up on me while I was dutifully hunting for a banned book in a collector's library. Barely escaped with my life. But you see, one of the reasons I transferred here was to get my hands on that heretical text. If you managed to acquire it for me, I'd pay quite a handsome sum for the book.
And why would a vicar be after a banned heretical book?
I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption.
Tell me more about this book of yours.
It's a handwritten journal. A faded blue cover with the name M. Bakonu handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious? It is not only a beautiful relic of a bygone time, it's also the thoughts of an early thinker on the nature of man's place in the cosmos. Not many in this colony could understand its true value, should they ever read it.
Alright, I'll look for your book.
Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here.
Sure.
Oh, sweet merciful law. A marauder's in my domicile.
Alright, take it easy, bud. I'm not a marauder.
There a reason you're running around outfitted like one of those monsters? Did Mr. Thompson send you to put the fear in me?
Who?
Well, you tell Mr. Thompson I'll be right at my post. Tomorrow. Bright and early tomorrow. Because I'm definitely not plagued. As spry as a spring chicken. That's old Abernathy.
Yeah, you want to tell me what's got you so nervous?
You some sort of wandering alienist? Walking into
What?
a man's own domicile, pestering him about his mental state?
No, I'm here to collect your gravesite fees.
Silas knows, doesn't he? That's why he sent you. That's why he wants me to pay up. He knows.
That's right. He told me everything. How long did you think you could keep a secret like that?
Sounds like he's already told you. You may as well hear it from me. I'm dying. I'm not long for this world. The date of my expiration is fast approaching. And soon I shall be ushered through the great cannery in the skies. It's plague. Has to be. Silas knows. He knows I got one foot in my grave, and now he wants to charge me for the other one.
I think you're being paranoid.
I am? Law, help me. Paranoia is one of the plague's known symptoms. I'll pay your fees. I don't want any trouble from Silas. But if you could see a way to freelancing for me, I could really use the help.
Alright, well, it depends on what you need.
Couple hours out of your day and some light second story work. That's all. There's a cache of anthracillin tucked away in the old community center. Powerful stuff. Stronger than what we got, anyway. I need you to break in, nab that medicine, and bring it back to me.
Well, not so fast. I've got some questions for you.
I'll do what I can.
Why can't you just buy some medicine yourself?
I tried medicating myself with adrenatime. Didn't do much for me, as far as I can tell. Anyway, I can't just buy medicine. Distribution of medicine is strictly prohibited to any workers beneath the acceptable margin of health. Company policy.
So in other words, the company won't treat you because you're already sick.
More like the company won't treat me because I'm not healthy enough.
Right. And I assume there are guards?
You will not find any guards within sight of that old place. Marauders, on the other hand.
It's funny, you didn't mention marauders before.
It is a reality of life in the Vale. Grass is brown, sky is gray. Marauders are outside the walls.
Right. Alright, well, I've heard enough.
So you'll do it then?
I'll do it.
You oblige me with your haste. I think I feel the plague spreading. Oh, Law, it's in my spleen now. I can feel it.
Anything else I should know about this community center?
Just keep your head down when you're in there. Marauders have taken over. Probably tracking mud all over the archives.
Alright, well, I'll leave you be. See you later.
You're making a mistake working for Abernathy.
Excuse me? Who are you?
Excuse me. I'm Esther Blaine, Spacer's Choice Actuary. I overheard your talk with Abernathy. I hope you're not thinking about getting him that medicine. Abernathy is a well-known hypochondriac. Anthracillin is wasted on him. You're better off selling it to me instead.
Well, he's got symptoms of something. You're saying it's psychosomatic?
All I'm saying is Abernathy's worked in this town longer than some of us been alive. How do I put this gently? He's got a lot of cobwebs up in his attic.
And what do you need it for?
I probably shouldn't tell you. Don't want you implicated for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, let me worry about that.
Alright. Here's a summary. A lot of sick people in this town, and we don't have the medicine to treat them all. Can't reach out to corporate without crossing a river of red tape, so I'm reaching out to you.
I see. You need someone to smuggle you medicine under the table.
Something like that. Look, I'm not in the habit of law breaking, but sometimes you've got to do the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Well, I'll think about it.
That's all I can ask of you.
Alright.
You the new worker? Whatever. Make it quick, Tenderfoot. I'm busy.
I'm guessing you're the foreman.
Foreman Granger. Mind those words don't come out of your mouth unless preceded by yes or right away or thank you.
Gravesite fees. I'm here to collect.
Shit. Silas still on about that. Here, take the fees. I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell Reed I was late on my payment.
Alright. Hey, these papers aren't saying in your name.
Because they're not my fees and not my gravesite. Guy I worked with shot himself. I paid the bill.
You have to pay for your neighbor's gravesite fees?
If you're not familiar with board law, you ought to be. Law requires delinquent gravesite fees to be paid by the deceased party's closest living relative, which meant me. Shame, though.
Oh.
Eugene was a good worker.
You said this guy shot himself.
Woke up one morning and put a round through his upper story. Can't imagine why. The kid was doing all right at his desk. We all thought he was an upstanding receptionist. Just between the two of us, I'm pretty shocked his weapon didn't misfire. Spacer's Choice handguns aren't the most reliable.
Must be tough losing family.
Eugene wasn't family.
That's an awful thing to say about your closest relative.
Yeah, I was the closest living person relative to his body at time of death. I'm the one who found him, you see, so I pay the fines. Suicide's
Oh.
a crime. The legal term is irreparable damage to company property. What Eugene did to himself was vandalism.
Vandalism? You can't be serious. What? Are they gonna arrest his corpse?
When one of your workers commits a crime, the entire town pays for it. In other words, Edgewater would have been penalized pretty hard. Whatever Eugene was worth as an asset, we would have had to pay out of pocket to Spacer's Choice.
What if you didn't?
Look around. Edgewater ain't exactly swimming in luxury. We can't afford to pay the body price of a suicide. All I know is Silas asked me for Eugene's gravesite fees, which means he was approved for burial, which means his papers went through, which means the town's in the clear. I'm just glad to put this whole ugly affair behind me. Eugene can rest his bones in peace, and the rest of us can get on with our own lives.
Alright, well, I'll let you get back to work.
The grease monkey, Argo?
I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, sir. You asked why it's taking so long to fix. The answer's technical.
Don't apologize. Just try using small words for me.
The can's bust open in the oven because she's set to cook saltuna, which isn't what we've got. Mr. Thompson? I think there's someone here to see you.
Focus, Miss Holcomb. You and I are still talking. Let's start over. Walk me through the process. Show me where it's going awry.
Well, sure. It's, mostly on account of what we're feeding into the mechanism.
It puts food in cans. We have food, we have cans. Why won't it work like we need?
She's expecting saltuna of a certain size. We're filling the cans with, well, not fish.
Prats. Hello.
Seems we've got a guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself.
Yeah, I can wait until you're finished.
You were saying, Miss Holcomb.
It's just what Bess needs is a proper refurbish. I can bandage her up and what all, but she's just old. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll do better.
And I do wish you'd stop referring to our cannery as Bess. Personification of company property is strictly contrary to the Spacer's Choice Code of Conduct. My apologies. I am not in the habit of allowing my guests to witness such a row. Now, what can I do for you?
Alright, well, you must be the town boss.
I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. Seems I allowed my excitement to run away with my wits. Been a few seasons since we've had a visitor pass through.
Well, I don't plan on staying long. My ship needs repairs. I'm looking for a power regulator.
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dismantling it.
Oh.
I beg your pardon. I am most emphatically not keen on any such thing. I can't let you have our power regulator. But I happen to know of another one. And I happen to know exactly how you may retrieve it without frying yourself in the process.
Frying myself.
Oh, yes. Saw someone put his hands on a regulator while the power was running. His legs were still twitching when we buried him. There's a power regulator in the old botanical lab. It's mostly abandoned, so all that power is being squandered. Go down to the geothermal plant. Reroute power from the botanical district over to us. Once their power's shut down, you can have their regulator and be along on your way.
Tell me about this geothermal plant.
The geothermal plant was built by our owners, Spacer's Choice. Lit up the whole Vale once upon a time. Most of the Vale is now abandoned. All that power is going to waste.
And you said this botanical lab was mostly abandoned. What did you mean by that?
I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The botanical labs are not legally inhabited, but there are people who live there.
You mean marauders? Marauders aren't people.
The people living in the botanical labs. They're deserters, former workers. I need them back at their posts. I need them to come home.
Why?
Edgewater is struggling. We haven't hit our production quota in years. If we don't meet our quotas this year, the company might shut us down for good. I need those workers back at their stations.
None of what you're telling me is my problem.
It's our problem, not yours, but I'm asking for your help. If those workers don't come back, Edgewater is going to collapse. My hope is that by cutting off their power, you will convince those deserters to come back to town. Before you go to the plant, I want you to stop by the botanical lab. Speak to their leader, Adelaide. Tell her the power's about to go, and that it's time her band of deserters came back to town.
Alright, but I'm not gonna make any promises.
Of course, I understand completely. Here, let me give you the passcode to the geothermal plant. A sign of good faith for so politely listening to me as I ramble on.
Are you
how
setting
kind.
off for the Vale? Because I know my way around. I mean, in case you want a guide. I mean, if that's
a guide?
You, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb, but I cannot deny that she is talented and may prove useful to you.
Sure, I could use a company.
Great. I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Best of luck to you, and thank you again for your help. It is a lot to ask of a stranger, I know.
Alright, let's get going. Oh. Companions. Alright, you. Let's get going.
Hey,
all right.
Can we talk? Sorry.
What do you want? What's going on?
Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just, Mr. Thompson has his own view on matters, on account of it's his job and what all, but that's not the only side of the tale.
Is this about the deserters? What's the other side of it?
To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it squeaks or stutters, it gets replaced. The deserters are decent folk. I knew some of them before they left.
Yeah? Did you know this Adelaide Reed mentioned?
Miss McDevitt? Oh, gosh, no. She was a real important person. A flavorist. Made all the food taste decent. She used to work up in the big office with Mr. Thompson. All I know
Really?
is she left after her son died. It was a real big to-do. I could hear them both yelling clear from my own place.
You can't leave it at that. Why were Reed and Adelaide arguing?
Can't say as I know. I wasn't there. The sound carried, but not the words. If Mr. Thompson ain't of a mind to tell you his own self, you'd best ask Miss McDevitt, if you can get out to her.
Well, I can't blame anybody for wanting to leave. This town's got issues.
Life's hard here. Especially for them that don't fit in so well. We're one big Spacer's Choice family, but every family's got the one the rest whisper about. Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no lights to see, nor heat to cook. They'll be at the mercy of marauders, or worse. I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is.
Yeah, I met the vicar. He asked me to find a book.
Books are for rich folk. I wonder what he wants with something like that.
Alright, well, I suppose it couldn't hurt. We'll stop by.
Thanks, mister. I just think when you gotta make a decision that'll hurt somebody, it's best to think on the right and wrong of it. That's what my dad used to say anyways.
Alright.
Thank the law. I've been requisitioning backup for months. Guess the boss finally came to his senses. You ever swung a truncheon? Let me see your
what?
rifling stance. I want to make sure you're up to snuff.
Are you okay, sir? You seem confused.
I'm talking about mechanical soldier. Cold, heartless automatons made of iron and lies.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just my luck. I ask for backup and the boss sends me one of them simple folk.
What?
Oh. Listen real close.
Yes.
Auto-mechanicals. Creatures forged in the fires of malevolence. I seen them over by the old power plant. Clattering about. Firing at the birds. Orchestrating their uprising. When the swarm of mechanicals come clanging on over that hill, where will you be? Cowering beneath your cot? Or standing, shoulder to shoulder with the resistance?
No, man, I'm not here for that. Silas sent me. You owe him your gravesite fees?
I told Silas I'd pay my dues if he agreed to join the resistance. Guess this means he's finally heard the calling.
Yeah. I got a question for you.
Go on.
What do you have against mechanicals?
You ever seen the way a mechanical just stands there? Just looking at you. Scanning you with its murderous oculars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they were programmed to do.
Mechanicals have been programmed to eliminate the human race. They've been programmed to replace us. First they will rob us of our jobs. And once they have taken away our livelihoods, they will take away our very lives.
Alright, got another question for you.
Go on.
What exactly do you do here?
I'm Ludwig Miller, Associate Security Officer for Transportation. Officially, unofficially, strictly between you and me,
Yeah?
I am the only thing standing between Edgewater and total annihilation.
I see. Well, if your resistance needs another gun, I am for hire.
I've been gathering up a war chest over the years. Saw tuna cans, mostly, some Spacer's chaw, few bit cards. I'll reward you for your aid.
Proper armies pay enlistment fees, you know.
Enlistment fees?
Yeah.
I suppose. Wouldn't want to give the resistance a bad name.
No. So, what do you need done?
They have sent a scout, prowling around the junkyard just behind our beloved town. This scout must not be permitted to return to its base of operations. Cross it off, then report back.
Alright, well, if I'm going after this mechanical scout, I could use a couple pointers.
Mechanical's got a weak spot in their midsections. I think the technical term is, the blue glowy square thing.
Alright, well, I'll let you be.
Lovely to see you about, Miss Parvati.
Things going all right, Silas?
Been keeping him careful and true, miss.
What are you talking about, Silas?
Best to ask her yourself.
My dad's buried here. Silas watches over him when I can't leave the house.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bravati.
Oh. Well, thanks.
Something I can do for you?
We need to talk about Eugene.
Yeah? What about him?
I read a letter from Phyllis. She mentioned digging him up for his gold teeth.
Yeah. Funny thing, Eugene's body ain't where it's supposed to be. The night we was supposed to commend his body to the earth, I had his grave all dug up and ready, right? And so I thought,
Right.
I'll just rest my eyes a bit. When I woke up, His body was gone, spirited away, vanished. The footprints nearby suggested that Eugene was stolen by marauders. Or he rose from the dead.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for them, I guess.
Let me know if you find anything.
Yeah, so about those fees you wanted.
You run into any trouble?
No, it's all done. Paperwork, fees, and signatures.
Reliable work from a freelancer. That's gonna take some getting used to.
I went out of my way for you.
And I'll buy you a drink sometime.
I was hoping for something more tangible.
Suppose you've earned it. One good turn deserves another.
Yeah, and by the way, Abernathy was trying to hide his own endless.
Abernathy was sick? With the plague? That's disgusting. I shook hands with the guy.
He was convinced you knew.
What? No. If I knew he was sick, I would have had him reported. I needed his fees because of his name. A, for Abernathy. He was at the top of my list, you see?
Right. Okay, well, let me ask you about something else.
Yeah?
I should go.
You're not a big drinker, are you? I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Any progress on that matter we discussed? Ah, Miss Holcomb. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
This here's Vicar DeSoto. He's always offering spiritual counsel to those that need it.
Thank you for the kind assessment, Miss Holcomb. I admit, I've been quite interested to make our outsider's acquaintance.
Yeah, I haven't found your book yet.
Please get it.
Of course, but I had something I wanted to ask you.
What would you like to discuss?
Pravati here wanted to talk to you about what Reed asked us to do.
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked you to do?
To cut off the power to Anley's deserters.
Depriving them of safety from the marauders and wildlife. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk.
What do you think of Anley's group, Vicar?
They rejected the order of society and live beyond the walls so thoughtfully provided by our Spacer's Choice patrons. Does that strike you as a responsible life choice?
Well, it depends on how well the leader can provide beyond your walls.
Astute. But I am here, not in the deserter camp. So that's not a variable I can account for.
So what do you advise?
Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold.
Is that even possible?
Not if things are left to stand as they are.
Well, I just thought of something else I need to be doing.
Where are we headed?
So, Pravati, I know this isn't my business, but I noticed you mention your dad a lot, but never your mother.
That's on account of how I never met her.
You mean she's dead?
I don't rightly know. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery computers. Her contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. So when I was born, I got sent here.
Is that normal around here?
I don't know about normal. Dad said she worked under some kind of special contract. It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff. Better to raise me on his time than hers.
You mentioned something earlier that I wanted to ask you about.
You mean about the mission being too clean?
Isn't it supposed to be clean? It's a church.
I know, but Vicar says the universe is a machine, that it runs by law. Real machines have gunked up oil, scratches, and worn bits. You can tell they've seen handling, been used by folk. The machine Vicar sees is one ain't never been run. It's not for people to live in. It's something on a museum shelf, under glass.
Then why did you want to talk to him?
The vicar's about the only soul in the Vale who spends his time thinking on what is and ain't right. It's just that when he looks at me, I feel I'd disappoint him.
Well, in the bar, you asked if I was a drinker.
Sorry. I know, it's none of my business.
I'm gonna guess you're not a drinker yourself?
Strong drink makes me sick. And it makes me real sad. I start thinking about things I oughtn't, and then... Well, never mind that. You got better things to think on. Sorry.
Oh, if you want to talk about it, I'm happy to listen.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
Alright, let's get back to it.